Okay, I'm on YouTube and Facebook. I'm just waiting for everyone to turn up. Whoops. Okay. There we go. People are starting to come in. Hello. While we're waiting for everyone to turn up, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. Hello, Taylor. Where are you from? I'm in Vancouver, Canada. I know whenever people come up to me on the street, they think, I thought you were American. Everyone thinks I'm American. I'm Canadian and Australian. So okay. So where are you from? Barons. Did I pronounce that right? Where are you from? I'm just killing time waiting for people to turn up. And I'm interested to hear where people are from. Massachusetts. Hello, age K 1870. It's on YouTube. And hi, Trisha. So where are you guys from? Ontario. Hi, Avery. I can't remember the last time I've been back east. Probably 50 years since I've been back east in Canada. It would have been about 50 years ago. North Carolina. Yeah, I'll get to your questions in a second. Washington State, and I have a very defiant 5-year-old. Ottawa, Canada. Okay, we got enough people. I'll just get going now. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board. You can look into my boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for older kids. You can look into coaching. I have a big wait list for that, but I'll get to you eventually. Or you can listen to our podcast. It's on all the platforms. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. And we save them all on YouTube if you want to watch us, because my daughter and I film it together. So I don't know your pardon me, I don't know your name here. It's BD on YouTube. Advice on how to keep calm when overstimulated and chronically sleep deprived. That's really, okay, I teach parent-child relationships. Your own stress management is not something I can really help you with, unfortunately. Everyone's different. Everyone manages stress differently. Okay, we're not going for perfection here. Just do the best that you can. But yeah, like working out is my stress relief. That's always what works for me. Some people it's food. Some people it's, a massage, whatever. Find something that suits you, because everyone's different. So, hello, Abbotsford, BC. Taylor. I used to live in Vancouver, Marine Drive and Kett Avenue. What's Kett Avenue? Kett Avenue. Don't know what that is. I live right around Olympic Village, downtown. Okay. How should I approach playing with my 4-year-old daughter when she's mean and tells me what to say or do the whole time we play? Just say, if you're going to be bossy, just say it like it is. If you're going to be bossy, I don't want to play. So, because other kids aren't going to want the other kids, but kids aren't going to like that either. So just say, we can play nice, or you can be bossy and I'll get up and leave. See what she does. Yeah, I would just say it like it is. No anger, no judgment. Just say, I'm not going to play if you're bossy. North Dakota. Hello, Karen. A grandma in Connecticut. I'm a grandma in Vancouver. I'm quite a new grandmother. My granddaughter's almost 2 now. I have her 1 day a week and absolutely love it. And yeah, it's amazing. I didn't expect to, I wasn't really looking forward to being a grandma. And then I thought, well, can't be like parenting. I mean, I loved parenting. So I thought, well, it's not my kid. It can't be as fun. I love her as much, and I wallow in her when I'm with her. And, but yeah, I'm loving it. So, but I don't like just visiting. I like the caregiving part, the mothering. Well, I'm not a mother, but you know what I mean. The caregiving. That's what I like. Jane from Australia. Whereabouts in Australia? My son was born in Sydney and my daughter was born in Brisbane. We spent most of our time in Brisbane for about 20 years. Do you have another second consequence other than 24-hour media blackout? Yeah, I got. If you look at my behavior board, it'll explain all that. You just take something away that they like. It's just a negative deprivation. That's the second consequence. The first one, you don't start with that, but that's the second one. So yeah, just come up with something that they like and they play with every single day, and you take it away for a day. Liz from Ohio. Hi, Liz. Taylor, you're also from Vancouver? Texas. What's your views on smartphones? What age would you say is appropriate? Oh, I can't answer that. I don't know. I would say around 12 or 13, they seem to get them, but I have no opinion on that. It's too hot of a topic. And I just think you've got to be discerning, like are they using the phones responsibly? What kind of blocks have you got on them? Do they have the internet? It's tricky. They're going to get around any blocks you put on anyway. And you know what? If they can't see something on their phone, they can see it on their friend's phone. They've all got phones now. So the world is open to them these days. It's tricky. I can't set an age. I don't know what's right. You got potty training with a boy on the spectrum. I do have a potty training course. It's in my boot camp courses, actually. It's in both of them. So if you want to look up one of the boot camp courses, it'll be in there. It's a whole system. I can't give you tips on it. But yeah, and anything to do with children with special needs like autism or physical disabilities or anything that's special needs, that would be more coaching. But a lot of the course might help too, But yeah, I don't have any tips because it's a whole system. What should I do if my 2-year-old's saying he hates people? Just ignore it. Say, okay. He's just doing it for a reaction. Yeah, just say, okay. Oh, wow. You're Casper, Wyoming, and you're a grandma raising your granddaughter from a day old. Wow, good for you. Some of my clients are grandparents raising their grandkids. And yeah. I'm 65. I would do it if I had to, for sure. But you don't expect to be parenting again at 65 or, as you get older. And so, yeah, it's just not what you expect. But there's lots of grandparents out there raising grandkids. Any tips on being better at pretending with little ones? I don't know. That always came easy to me because I'm a doofus. But I don't know. They don't seem to notice, where was I the other day? Oh, no, I can't talk about it because it was a coaching thing. Anyway, yeah, just start to mimic like whatever's on screen that they like Miss Rachel. Boy, there's nothing like getting a kid's attention than imitating Miss Rachel. So yeah, just mimic something on screen that they like, a character that they like. That's what I would do. Oh, thanks, Kimber. That's sweet. Martinique. I don't even know where that is. I've heard of it. So I have to look that up right now, or else I'll forget. Martinique. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. I had no idea it was there. Wow. Wow. Sure, it's beautiful there. Okay. Any advice for a breastfeeding mother with kids who decide to misbehave when she starts breastfeeding? It depends on the ages, but generally get a ritual going. Every time you're breastfeeding, you have a little basket that is just a little activity basket that they only get when you're breastfeeding, and change it over all the time, and just little dollar store stuff or whatever. And you sit down, breastfeed, and have the other kids around you with this activity basket. Oh, you're asking about your granddaughter. I don't answer grandparenting questions because I only teach parenting. So, and also you were asking me why she does something. I would have to ask questions to figure that out. Oh, you're into the bribery. Yeah, that's a slippery slope. That'll backfire. This is Monica. I wouldn't bribe. No. Sometimes I will use incentive with certain things, but it's rare. But yeah, if you get into that bribery slippery slope, yeah, watch out. I wouldn't do it. Because then they're going to equate being good with a reward. They're going to think that being good isn't normal. They're going to think it's a special occasion that I get a reward for. Oh, anything to do with autism or special needs, that would be one-on-one coaching with me. I need to assess the situation. They're all different, right? So that I can't give a general answer to that. How do I correct my 3-year-old hitting? Use the free behavior board. It's on BratBusters.com, and his rule is no hitting, and you just follow through. I think that's the example I use. The free behavior board is actually a mini course, so you can sign up for that. It also has a section on toddlers, which is under 3. I'm going to read this out. This is Kirsten in Ontario. My 2-year-old son's been whining and throwing tantrums at dinner. He looks at it and immediately cries before trying, and it's all food he likes. He'll continue this until I let him stay up. Then when it's bedtime, he will either eat it or not. And I've been following all your advice. Oh, if he starts whining and crying, I would put the food in front of him, let him whine and cry, and I would just eat as if I don't even notice. They do it. If they don't get attention, they just stop doing it. But it takes time. It's repetition, and consistency. Okay, don't keep saying, but try it. Just ignore him. Put the food in front. If he pushes it away, just pull it away for a while and then continue eating and chatting. Or you can read a book. I wouldn't go on a screen if I were you, but if you don't have anyone to talk to, then just read a book or something or flip through a magazine. And, but yeah, just ignore it. Should stop. Over time, though, it's not going to happen overnight. Someone said, oh, thank you. That makes sense. I don't know what I answered. Oh, Anita. Yeah, I love being a grandmother. It's good because, I mean, I'm not mom. I'm not the leader. She's very much a mommy's girl. She's, I'm not the parent. But the grandparent, I love the caregiving. I like all that. I like all that stuff because I think the connection is different when you caregive rather than just visiting and bringing gifts. But I really like having her for a full day, and we're little girlfriends together for a full day. I really enjoy that. You just connect on a different level, I think, when you caregive, and I really enjoy it. And it's bringing back a lot of memories of when my kids were little too. Yeah, a lot of grandparents are parenting. Where are you? Me? I'm in Vancouver, Canada. Vancouver, Canada. And it really doesn't matter where I am because I don't do anything in person. So all my stuff is done online, all of it. So I used to, even when I first started my business about 20 years ago, I used to do a lot more TV and radio. So I was traveling around doing that. And then I would sometimes visit homes, but it was just a disaster because the kids were all over the place. And so, yeah, and I do some public speaking. I don't do any of that anymore. I just sit here and coach and work. Okay. Are there any differences for kids that come from conflict divorces and change homes a couple times a week? There is no ability to create consistency between home. Now they adjust very well. They also adjust very well from going to school all day and then coming home and adjusting to home. Kids do adjust. Just worry about yourself, work on your own home front, and don't worry about what happens at the other home. If you can get on board with some consistency, like a behavior board that's the same at both homes, great. If not, just worry about yourself. Children will naturally lean to the leader. The leader is the one that makes them feel the safest and also increases their self-esteem. So they like themselves the most when they're with the leader. That's generally how it goes. So you will end up having a lot more control than you think, even though the other home may be wild or whatever. But yeah, kids tend to lean into your leadership. They're drawn to it. Takes a while. 2-year-old that bangs his head when he gets upset, hits and bites, just physically restrain him to keep him safe, other people safe, or from damaging property. Just hold him until he calms down, or just hold him for a minute or so, let go. If he starts getting wild again, hold him again, but don't look at him and talk to him. And there's 2 words you never say. You never say, calm down. It's useless. Just go radio silent, but just physically restrain so that he doesn't get hurt. Yeah, Martinique is beautiful. I would assume so. So my almost 6 years old has a lot of imagination, and all his stories have special effects on our over the top, which take out all his credibility when we are talking seriously. How can I make him be more serious? I don't think I would. I like that. I like an imagination with kids. I'd probably get right into it. But if it's something that has to be discussed seriously, then I would just say, well, no, let's forget that and let's talk about what we need to. But I would lean into that, to be honest. I think you think you got a story. Wait till you hear what I'm going to say. So yeah, I would lean into it. How are you qualified in autism? I'm not. I don't have any formal qualifications at all, but I have a lot of experience. I've worked with a lot of kids with autism, physical disabilities, trauma, abuse, violent teenagers. It's just experience based. So, and I don't work with kids. I work with the parent-child relationship. Doesn't matter what your kids have, parent-child relationship. That's all I do. But yeah, I've worked with all those kids. Just as a volunteer mentor. I've spent a lot of time in hospitals and schools, and I loved all that. Oh, Tabitha, hope you're well. It was spaghetti night, so I had to bath the 10-month-old. I can remember when I first started feeding my babies, or 1-year-olds or whatever, spaghetti. It was in the hair. It was everywhere. Oh, I don't know. With my granddaughter, she's the most clean little fussy. She never touches anything she shouldn't. She's very neat when she eats. And heaven forbid something should fall off her plate, she puts it back on. She's like 22 months. She's just a very particular, calm little girl. I think they know how lucky they are. Well, it could change, but I don't know. I don't think so. But yeah, I don't know. My kids weren't that calm. Like that. They weren't they would spill food and that wouldn't upset them. She just puts it all back in. She's very careful. She's very cautious and very careful. So yeah, just a really easy little kid so far. It's just they're just born certain ways, right? Yeah, there you go. So you're answering Jasmine's question about the headbanging kid who gets upset and headbangs. My son did this. I protected his head from injury without giving attention. He grew out of it. Yeah, they grew out of all that stuff. Sometimes if it's that bad, or sometimes with older kids, I recommend the foam helmet. Supervise them while you put it on them. Foam helmets were intended for kids who have maybe some mental disabilities and they do bang their head. And yeah, if you've got a headbanger that gets upset and starts banging his head on coffee tables or that, I've had clients who bought a foam helmet, just get it online, whatever, supervise them because I don't know how safe they are. And then the kid hates that helmet. If they start banging their head and they see that helmet coming, they stop. They learn. You said, where can I go check that out? I need help. Well, I don't know Stephanie, I don't know what you were talking about. I can't go back. Like, I don't know what you were talking about. If you need anything more extensive answers for me, that would be one-on-one coaching. It's expensive. I have a huge wait list. So, listen to the podcast. That's free. And I go into a lot more detail. But I'll never discuss any disabilities outside of coaching because I need to assess the situation. So it's more of a specialty. And you got to put the age down. There was a question I would have answered, but I don't have an age, and the answer is very different for different ages. I couldn't find your board online. If you go to BratBusters.com, literally, it's the very top. It's the black row, and it's got a Get Access blue button. So that's where the behavior board is. This is interesting. This is Deb, and I don't answer grandparent questions, but I am gonna talk about this for a second. He said, I have a 14-year-old granddaughter that is out of control. A lot of it I feel is from social media. No, social media is just, it's like, you can't blame the music. You can't blame social media. You can't blame other kids. She's making choices on her own. So you can't blame social media for that. No, that doesn't make any sense at all. They used to blame rock and roll for kids going astray. They're either going to go astray or they're not. Okay. So your leadership is what prevents them going astray or going out of control. And kids who, like a social media, it gets so much flack. Like it does, but it's like anything. It's like driving. You can drive responsibly and cars are great, or you can drive like an idiot and kill people. Social media is just like anything else. It's how you use it. So, it has nothing to do with social media. It's how it's abused and used. That's the problem. Should I be asking the grandparents of our kids to follow our routines? Yes and no. Yes and no. I don't like to set anyone else. You're the leaders, nobody else. I would say if the grandparents are doing fine with the kids and everything's great, let them do what they do. Okay. I would never want to micromanage. If I trust someone with my kids, I'm not going to micromanage them. But if you want to, if they're on board and they want to do it, then sure. But and also, if they're doing something you don't like, tell them. That's your kid. Like if my daughter-in-law or my son said, "Mom, when you're with our daughter, can you do this instead?" I'd go, "Absolutely." Not my kid, right? It's their kid. So, yeah. Oh, thanks, Leah. I appreciate that. Leah's from Campbell River. That's on the island, Vancouver Island here. I don't know where anything is on the island. It's hilarious. I've heard of Campbell River, Victoria, Duncan. I kind of know where Victoria is. It's down south. Powell River. I have no idea where anything is. In Nanaimo, people will say, "Oh, it's near such and such." It could be at the top of the island or at the bottom. I have no idea. I've only been there, I think, a couple times in my life to the island. So isn't that fun? I have no idea about the island. It's a complete mystery to me. I would love to know if you could cancel her. Do you do it online? Please message. Well, I just look on my website. And I don't know who you're asking for, but everything's done online. Like I've got my clients are all over the world. It's rare that I get a client in Vancouver. I think I've got maybe one or two right now. But yeah, just and never buy me as a gift. Never buy my courses or coaching. Never buy it as a gift unless you've checked with that person. Nothing's more awkward than if I talk to a woman and her mother-in-law bought me my coaching as a gift to her. Here, you need help. I often give a refund if that happens. It's awkward. Do you have a podcast about whining? We're struggling with a super whiny 6-year-old. I don't think I have one specifically on whining, but I might. If you look up, just go online and look up the podcast and just type in whining. I should be able to figure that out. Let me see. Oh gosh, no, of course I can't. I know. If you go on YouTube, that's where all my lives are saved as lives in there, and the podcast is also on there. And if you literally just go to my channel, and I'm just going to do it now, and I'm just going to type in whining. Yeah, I've got a video on it. Looks like it's alive. How would I approach whining? I've got tons of stuff on whining. So if you just go on YouTube and just type in BratBusters Parenting Whining, I've got tons of stuff on YouTube, and I go into it in detail. The only reason I don't want to do that right now is I'm just going to go over to Instagram. I'm going to move from what I do is whenever I do a live, I'm on YouTube the whole time, and then I hop from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok. So I've got to go to, because I got lots of work to do tonight, so I can't stay on here for too long. So I'm just going to hop over to Instagram now if you want to join me over there. If not, check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board, my bootcamp courses. You can look into coaching. I do have a big wait list, but I'll get to you eventually. Or you can look into my podcast. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and we save them all on YouTube. Anyway, I'm hopping over to Instagram now. Happy parenting. Sorry, YouTube, you have to watch me button push. You keep changing how you do this. Okay, there we go. I'm going to do 15 minutes. I put the timer on. You guys probably have these timers. Aren't they just the best? I bought this just so I could show parents, but I was hoping to get one that was more adult. Like I didn't want the kid one. They only make them like for kids. So I was hoping to get one that would look a bit nicer on my desk here. So I keep it in my drawer usually because I don't like the way it looks. Okay. Oh, hello. I'm just chatting to YouTube while I'm waiting. Okay. So, oh boy, that's sour. I'm drinking Kombucha, what's it called? Kombucha. I always get kabocha squash and kombucha mixed up. I always say it backwards. But yeah, I drink kombucha a lot. I love it. Anyway, okay, thanks so much for joining me. If you want to check out my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board. What else? My boot camp courses, my coaching, if you want to work with me one-on-one. There's a big wait list for that, but I'll get to you eventually. I actually have had 3 new clients, I think, in the last week. So I'll go like weeks without a new client just because my existing clients rehire me more often than not. But I just finished up with a few clients, so it's good. Got some new people to talk to. And what else? Oh, yeah, the podcast. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms. If you want to watch us film it, it's on YouTube. And YouTube is BratBusters Parenting. So let's get going here. Let me see here. Australia. Hi. I'm Australian too. You're getting even more popular now. Congrats. Yeah, I think across all the platforms, it's embarrassing, but I think we hit 2.5 million now across all the platforms. It's just, I can't even fathom that. No one's more surprised than my daughter and I, how the business has gone. But yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years, but I only really blew up about 3 years ago. And it all happened on TikTok. I just started talking on TikTok and blew up overnight. It was bizarre. And I've been talking about this for 20 years. But all of a sudden, I think people are just ready to listen. I think that pleaser parent style, it had a real grip on society for about 30 years, and they realized it's a disaster. So I think people were ready for something new. I think that's all. I've been saying the same stuff for 20 years. I've been doing this for 50 plus years. But yeah, so yeah, I'm just thrilled that people are getting on board with this because I've been screaming this information for 20 years. And not many people were listening. So... But you know, if you really believe in something, you never give up. They say it takes 15 years to get a business going. I believe that. I really do. Blood, sweat, and tears have gone into this business for many, many years. I was doing okay, but yeah, it's a lot of work. You needed me tonight for all the night toddler meltdown. You know, it's funny. I loved going to bed. I can remember that. I can remember asking to go to bed. And my granddaughter does too. She asks to go to bed. Like, not all kids hate bedtime. My kids went to bed really easily. They don't all hate bedtime, but a lot of them do. Okay, you said my almost 4-year-old will not cooperate on potty training. He cries and screams when on the toilet as a form of punishment. So he cries and screams as a form of punishment toward you? I don't get that. I don't quite understand that. Okay. I do have a potty training course. It's in my boot camp courses, but you're probably past that because he's 4 years old and he already knows what to do. And you never treat potty training like a behavior. It's just a habit. I use incentive. So I would kind of use some of my methods in there. So I would say, look, if you sit on the toilet, you'll get 1 chocolate chip if you sit there for 30 seconds. If you pee on the toilet, you get 2 chocolate chips. If you poop, you get 3. So use a reward system. It could be 5 minutes of screen time. If you sit on the toilet for 30 seconds, you'll get 5 minutes of screen time. If you sit for 10 or 30, did I say 30 seconds? If you pee, you get 10 minutes. You see what I mean? Use incentive, reward with potty training. It's not a behavior. It's a bodily function. So give that a go. Hello, Shamie from California. Oh, thanks for your support, Liz. Should I give my 2.5-year-old choices? Like, would you like to go to the park or the shops? My partner says I shouldn't give him choice. I wouldn't give him big choices. I would say, do you want to play with Lego or with the cars? I would give them choices over play, but not where you're going, not what they're wearing, not what you're eating. No, I wouldn't. Just with play. You be in charge of everything, but they can be in charge of the play. So. Or if you don't care where you're going, that's okay. But the problem is that they're not good at exceptions. If they think they can have choices with everything, then they're going to want choices with everything. Like, do you want to go to bed or don't you? You see, you kind of got to be careful with that. Oh, this is such a good question. You're going to hate me. My boy is almost 4. This is Gabriel 9. How can I teach remorse/empathy? For example, he will receive a consequence and then we talk and I make him say sorry, but I can tell he isn't meaning it. course he's not. You're just great. Okay. Let me calm down a little bit. You're discussing bad behavior. It makes him feel worse. It's awful. You don't discuss bad behavior. Just say, here's your consequence. And then make it, if he doesn't do it, then make him like give something up for 24 hours. Follow the behavior board. It's free on my website. Don't discuss it. And then you want him to say sorry. I don't do that. I just don't. The words I'm sorry are two of the most meaningless words in the English language. They're useless. Sorry, I killed your whole family. Sorry. Everyone wants to hear I'm sorry. I don't. It's okay. Say you're sorry, I guess, to start the ball rolling. This is my idea towards an apology. Let's say you did something wrong as an adult. I would say sorry. Then the second part is 4 parts. The second part is, it was all my fault. I shouldn't have done it. Not, it was all my fault, but if you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have had to do it. You see, a lot of people have that passive aggressive blaming the other person for their own flaw. The third part is, what can I do to make it up to you? Make amends to that person. And the fourth one is, quit doing it. Okay? But you don't do that with kids. With kids, you just say, okay, here, you broke a rule. Here's your consequence. Then after they do it, if they don't do it, then you take something away, right? That's how the behavior board goes. But then it's over. Don't look for remorse and empathy. It's ridiculous. You're after the big you're trying to force emotions here. That doesn't make any sense at all to me. Don't force emotions. Just he'll eventually, when you teach him, whenever he does something bad, then you're teaching him how to replace it with a good deed, like a consequence. Then he'll become a good person. It happens organically. You're not forcing it on him. You can't force emotions on someone. That's what you're trying to do. It's never going to work. And then I want him to mean it and everything. Ooh, that's the therapy session stuff. Yeah, you're going down a bad path there. It's not the way you want to go. Another from Vancouver, Canada. Gippsland, Victoria, Australia. I've never been to Victoria. I lived in Sydney for a year, and then I was up in Brisbane for about 15 years. But I never made it down to Victoria because I got pregnant the day I arrived in Australia. And so I was just in the suburbs raising kids. I never traveled around Australia. Like whenever someone would say, oh, where should I visit when I go to Australia? I don't know. All I know is how to raise kids in the suburbs. I was just living there. I wasn't traveling. Someone asked, you said you got a 5-year-old and you're not a leader. How do you implement at this late stage? Well, I specialize in teenagers. That's a late stage. 5 is a tiny little stage. Yeah, check out my website. You might want to look into the boot camp, the free behavior board, but the boot camp course, you might want to look into that. It's more, there's more in it, obviously. And it'll teach you how to set yourself up as a leader. It goes over a 5-week period. It's all laid out. And if you're going to get that, the toddler one isn't as planned out because toddlers are more unpredictable. And, they're all a little bit different. It's not quite as laid out. But the 3 to 12-year-old boot camp course it's all paced out over 5 weeks. You can stretch it out by a week or 2, but don't try and shorten it. Don't try and fast track this stuff. Learning how to be a leader takes time. So I'm scrolling ahead because I want to make sure you're still here. Like it never looks like there's many people in a live. I might look like I maybe have 100 people alive, but there's actually thousands coming and going all the time. So I want to make sure if I answer something that you're still here. That's why I scroll down to the bottom. What's a good rule for a newly 3-year-old on a behavior board? If they put no hitting. If they don't do anything naughty, then you put down, make your bed every morning before 9 o'clock, or put your shoes and jacket away within 5 minutes of arriving home, or put your dishes on the counter before you leave the kitchen. So you can just get them to do something like looking after themselves like a chore. How do you teach anything to a 16-month-old? That's just coming out of babyhood. Yeah, you're kind of teaching them right from wrong. They kind of are starting to get it anyway, but you're teaching them right from wrong and you're using consistent corrective actions. So if they do something naughty, you just say no very calmly. You just say that one word and then you take action. It's got to be quick though, because they live in the present moment. So let's say they throw a toy and they hit someone. You say no, and then you take that toy and you put it away where they can still see it, but they can't touch it for maybe an hour or so. They will eventually get it. And you're kind of not inviting, I guess you are. You're kind of inviting the scene, the tantrum, because they're going to get upset that you took something away. So you're removing the fun from them or them from the fun. That's what you do. That's the consistent corrective action. So you're almost inviting a scene because you want them to, their scene is them processing not getting their own way. That is their process. So never be afraid of a fit, scene, meltdown, or tantrum, because that is the lesson. So I never have a fear of that. As soon as a kid that I was looking after would go have a fit, I'd go, okay, this is my opportunity to exercise my leadership. So yeah, that is them processing that they're not in charge. And that's okay. There's a lot of talk out there. I've never looked at it, but my clients tell me about how to help self-regulate. It doesn't make any sense, because self-regulate means they learn how to regulate themselves organically through you not feeding all that stuff. They will learn. My 3-year-old cries every time she gets a consequence. Can I combat this? Why would you want to? Her crying is her processing that she's not in charge anymore. The crying is their lesson. You know, you tend to think of crying. People think that crying and tantrums and all that is big emotions and big feelings. It's not. It's just drama. It's just a show. Remember, they're coming out of babyhood. That's how they communicated everything. The way they cry, it looks horrendous. If we cried like that, it'd be horrible. But they're not. That's how they communicated for the first year or two of their life, right? So that's just them communicating, I'm not happy. Just ignore it. They get a consequence and they cry over it. Just go, okay. They'll learn. You love the podcast. Okay. Yeah. We would love to hear more examples from families. I know you need their permission. I tell a lot of client stories in coaching, and I always get permission, or it's an amalgam. Like they wouldn't know who I'm talking about, right? So I don't know why. I don't tend to tell as many. I tell the funny ones. The reason why I don't like to tell a lot of the negative ones is if parents, and they'll give me permission to talk about it, I don't want anyone criticizing them. That's why. And coaching is a safe place. It's very intimate. It's very personal. But I don't want anyone criticizing them. That's why. I used to tell, should I say it? No, I'm not even going to say it. This is something really funny this mother did. I thought it was hilarious. She thought it was hilarious. She goes, you can tell anyone you want. I told the story, but it's funny. And I told the story and someone said, oh, what a horrible mother. I thought, nope, never going to tell that story ever again. That's why I don't tend to tell them. I don't want those people being criticized. I get very protective of my clients. Oh, I don't have any potty training tips. It's a system. It's sort of like a diet tip. You need a whole diet, or a workout tip. You need really a whole program. It's like that. I can't give you a tip. It wouldn't work on its own. It's in my boot camp course. If you want to know all my potty training system, it's in both my boot camp courses. Okay, I'm going to answer this. Okay. My 8-year-old is tough. He masks feelings of sadness and retreats. He hates affection and loses it and says extremely hurtful things when things don't go his way. I'm really struggling. You got a connection issue here. Work on connecting with him. That's all I'm teaching here is connecting. Everyone asks about discipline, but that's not what I teach. I teach connection. You always play in their world, connect in his world, whatever he likes to do. And don't use that opportunity to discuss things, to do no kid wants a therapy session. Okay. If he needs it, if there's trauma, yes. But generally, let's say you get connected with your kid, you start playing Lego with him and you're having fun. A lot of parents really screw that up. And they say, well, why have you been so sad lately? Why? And they're going to shut you out. They just want to have fun. Fun is their love language. Fun is the best medicine. Connection, fun, bonding. You'll find when you're playing with him, let him talk about stuff. Don't ask questions. He'll shut you out. Because then every time you go to play with that kid, and then if he knows you're going to try and do the therapy session, he's not even going to want to play with you. Yeah, I'm just feeding off of what you said. He's shut down. So yeah, do not talk about why he's shut down. Let him mention it. And if he does, don't dive in. Just say, oh, that's okay, sweetie. How about we do this or whatever? Just stay calm. Don't try and do the big, long therapy session. Let him guide the way. Yeah, connection is the key there. Oops. Sorry, I've got to move over to TikTok now. I'm just going to answer this. If I put my 20-month-old in timeout, should I ignore her? I hate timeout. Don't do it. I hate it. I can't stand it. If you want to know more about that, you can literally just go online and go BratBusters timeout. Tons of videos on that. Yeah, I hate timeout. Actually, I think we just did a podcast on that. Let me look that up. Just a sec, because there's three things I hate. One is timeout, and it's grouped with the other two. So I don't know. Just a sec here. I'm just going to see. So if you go on YouTube and you type in BratBusters timeout, BratBusters timeout. Let me see if it comes up. Yeah, I literally have a video. It's called Why Timeouts Don't Work and What I Recommend Instead. I did it 5 months ago. It's a podcast, and just go on YouTube and type in BratBusters timeout. It'll go into it in great detail, obviously, because it's a whole podcast. That's where you'll find the most in-depth answers, is on the podcast. Okay, I got to go over to TikTok now. If you want to join me over there, it's BratBusters Parenting. If not, check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board, my boot camp courses, my coaching. Sorry, there's a big wait list for coaching, but I'll get to it eventually. Or you can look into the podcast, which is completely free and there's no wait list. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and we save them all on YouTube. Not we, my daughter does. She does all that. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm on YouTube the whole time. Now I'm popping over to TikTok, and that'll be my last platform. Happy parenting. Oh, sugar. Now they've added something new here. There we go. You keep changing how you do this. And at my age, it throws me off every time. Okay. Yeah, I turned 65 a couple of weeks ago. Actually, just last week. No, a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, 65. Wow. Wow. That just sounds old. Well, it is. Okay. Why do us parents almost second nature to do that? It's because we've seen it so much. Why do us parents almost second nature to do that? To do what? I thought you were giving your kids a bath, Tabitha. You got wet thumbs? Therapy sessions. Oh, yeah. The reason is that you think that they don't understand. That's ridiculous. They understand it. So what Tabitha was saying is, why do we give kids therapy sessions discussing all their big feelings and big emotions? It's because you think they don't understand. And you want them to understand why they should or shouldn't do something. They already understand all that. The best thing you can do for your kids is play with them, connect with them, and all sorts of stuff will come out then. That's where you'll get all the information. It's when you're bonding with your kids. It's not when you sit down for the therapy session. It's when you're bonding, when you're playing with them. That's when stuff will come out. And it'll come out in a really positive, healthy way. So that's how I worked with troubled teenagers. That's how I got stuff to come out. I didn't say, do you want to talk about your big feelings? That's ridiculous. I would just start, chatting with them. And next thing you know, they'd start to tell me stuff. So you want to be a safe place to land. Play is their love language. Fun is their love language. With teenagers, humor is their love language usually. But yeah. Okay. Welcome to the live. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. And by the way, I'm on YouTube the whole time that I was talking to someone on YouTube. And then I hop from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok. Anyway, check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board. You can look into my boot camp courses. If you want to work with me one-on-one, that's coaching. I do have a big wait list. I'm really sorry about that, but I'll get to you eventually. And if you want to just look at the podcast, that's free and there's no wait list for that. So it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. My daughter and I work together. We do the podcast together, and she saves them all on YouTube if you want to check that out. You can just go to YouTube, type in BratBusters and any parenting topic you want. We might have already done a podcast on it. I'll go in more in depth on the podcast. Okay, so let's get going with your questions. I'll do my best to answer them. I don't answer them all because I get too many to answer, but I'll just pick and choose. I'd like to mix up ages if I can. Now, someone said here, how long time teenagers allowed to hang out with friends? Does limited time work for me? No work. How long time teenagers allowed to hang out with friends? Sorry, I don't know what you mean by that. I'm not too sure. Hang out with friends. I'm just going to bring up something with teenagers, but first of all, I'm going to talk about my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers, and that will lead me to what I'm going to say to that. I might have misinterpreted your question, but I'm going to talk about curfews and time with friends. Okay. So this is my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. You listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2, negotiate as much as possible with teenagers. It goes something like this. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? You're building reciprocity. You give respect to get it. Number 3, don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. If they do something stupid, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? Or do you want to hear what I did yesterday? In other words, it's okay to make mistakes, just like you do, just like you did. Number 4, don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. I teach parents how to connect with their teenagers. Then they want to talk about all the bad things they did. Huge mistake. Then they say, well, when do we discuss their bad behavior? And I said, never. Where's that going to get you? In the toilet. That's where it's going to get you. Never discuss the bad times. Number 5, you can be a right fighter or you can be happy. Think about it. If a teenager's arguing with you, even if they know you're right, if you happen to be right, you're not always right, by the way, they will die on that hill. Once you start arguing, once they get into it, they'll die on any hill, even if they know they're wrong, okay? So you can be a right fighter, you can be happy. Just say, I'll tell you what, let's just forget it. Or I'll tell you what, let's discuss it later. Do not add when you've calmed down. That's an accelerator, get you in big trouble. Okay, so that's it. So what I was going to mention was curfews with teenagers. This is not popular with a lot of parents, but this is what I did with my kids. They never had a curfew. And I said, well, you go out and we'll discuss it. If you're having fun, you can stay later. If you're not, I'll pick you up early, because I don't know what kind of time I'm going to have when I go out. I'm useless past 9 o'clock. I'm in bed by then anyway, but I used to be able to go out. But anyway, so what I did with my son, especially, he liked to go out with his friends and they'd be gaming all night, right? Like, PlayStation, whatever. So my rule was that you have to phone me every 90 minutes. I think it was past midnight or past 11 o'clock. Every 90 minutes, that's 90, you have to phone me. Just say, yeah, I'm fine. Can you pick me up or not, right? So what I would do is, I'm really good at sleeping and putting an alarm on. So every 90 minutes, I would put an alarm on and I'd wait to hear from him. If he didn't call me, I'd call him. And it was just a quick, yeah, you're fine. Do you want me to pick you up? No, that was how we did it. And then I might say, look, it's 2 o'clock. I'm going to come get you now. He'd say, fine. Or if I wasn't feeling very well, I'd say, can you stay home tonight? And he would, because he was so used to getting respect. So he was willing to give it, right? Give respect to get it. I did that. Now, why was that so hard for me? Getting up late, 2, 3 in the morning to go pick him up. He'd stay out really late with his friends. I always knew where he was, who he was with. And I trusted him 100%. And why was that? It was hell for me, because I had a daughter that was 5 years younger and I was a single mom. And I had to get her out of bed at 3 in the morning and go and drive and go pick up my son, who would have been, if she was 10, he would have been 15. If she was 12, he would have been 17. You know what I mean? Like, I had to wake up my daughter in the middle of the night because I couldn't leave her home alone. So yeah, that was hell, but I did it because I felt that I had to show respect. I remember what it was like being young, and there's no way I could not go pick him up. I didn't want him getting a ride from someone else. I didn't know who was going to drive him. So yeah, I made that choice. It's just a choice I made. So, and I never got in any trouble with him. Like, he was a good kid. So, and I think part of that was because I showed so much respect and I was willing to go through that. I don't think he really has any idea how hard that was, but it was very, very difficult. There you go. But sometimes you got to give more than you want to. And that was a situation. It was hard for me, but I just made that choice. I wanted to have a really close relationship with my son. I respected the fact he's having fun with his friends. He didn't go out that late that often, maybe once a week, but that he was out that late. But yeah, that's what I did. Okay. Child separated from father for 3 months. He's 4. How would this be affected? So the child is separated from the father for 3 months. He's 4. How would this be? I can't answer that because I don't know the relationship and I don't know the situation. So I can't answer that. This is cute. You said this is science noob. I started you're all right. And the other day my son was playing and something didn't go right. And he goes, oh, well. So I think what you're replying to is when a kid gets upset over something, I just go, you're all right. My mother would have said, you'll survive. If I was just overreacting to something. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. But yeah, so they get it. I remember if something wasn't going my way, And if it was my dad, and he'd go, well, sweetie pie, what can I do to fix it? And I'd get worse. He would feed it, right? I'd get worse. My mother would have said, you'll survive. And I would have gone, oh, okay. Like, because she wasn't feeding it. She was the leader. My dad was the pleaser. And Dad would have fed it for sure. Well, what can I do to help, sweetie pie? I don't know. My mom would have gone, she'll survive. Leave her alone. Worked a charm. Okay. Oh, I can't talk about nutrition. I'm not qualified. In coaching, I'll discuss what I did with my kids, but I can't give advice. And I'm not going to discuss that on just a live. Coaching's different. We get more personal. Advice on kids going through divorce. Okay, my kids went through it. I would say, there's a little bit of a rocky transition for sure. But overall, they don't care that you're together. They just care that you get along. We still turned up to everything together, did the holidays together. We still do 25 years later. So yeah, we never argued or anything in front of the kids. And we always got along. I think that's the most important part, is getting along. And then people say, well, you're lucky you're friends with your ex. No, I'm not friends with my ex. We're not friends. I'm stuck with him for life. And he's stuck with me for life because we got kids and grandkids together. So you're stuck with that person for the rest of your life. Get along with them. Love your kids more than you hate your ex. That's my best advice. They don't care that you're together. They just care that you get along. That's it. They would rather you be together, but that's not what upsets them. It's not the divorce that upsets them. It's the animosity that upsets them. Four-year-old daughter yells, "You're the worst mom ever," when she doesn't get her way. I'd go, okay. Why would you react to that? Why would you allow her to control you like that? Yeah, just say, okay. And just go about your business. You're the worst mom ever. Alrighty. Yeah, whatever. She's trying to get a rise out of you. And it sounds like she does, so that's why she's doing it. Plus, once you're a leader, they don't talk to you like that. Right? But a leader wouldn't react to that either. A leader would just go, yeah, okay. Whatever you say. Alrighty then. What do you do with a 2-year-old who says mine with tons of attitude? How do you teach sharing? Okay, well, if they say mine and it's not theirs, just take it anyway. You follow up with action. It's not words, okay? And you don't teach sharing. You just teach how not to grab. So if they grab something, you say no, and you hand it back to the other kid. So, yeah, you don't teach sharing to a 2-year-old. You just teach how not to grab. And that is sort of sharing, I guess. And you said, what if it's theirs? So they say, you have something. What do you mean? I don't understand that. So if it is theirs and some other kid is playing with it, is that what you mean? If they grab it, I'd say no, and then let the other kid have it back. I totally binged your YouTube. Didn't know you did lives. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, if you look on my YouTube, it has a live section, and that's all my lives are on there. And I didn't know that till today. My daughter told me. I've never looked at my channel. She does all that stuff. Because I said, oh, are all these videos, like I've done thousands of videos. She goes, no, I took all the videos off. All that's on YouTube is all of the podcasts. And then if you look up, and that's the videos. If you look up videos, it's just podcasts. If you look up live, all my lives are on there. She took all the videos off because I had videos that were like 20 years old. She goes, Mom, they were so old. One of them was on one of my top videos. I don't know, hundreds of thousands of views I think it had, was called Doggy Down Syndrome. I had a dog that had Down syndrome, and I did a video on that. She goes, it's not really applicable to what we're doing, so she got rid of it. Thought that was funny. But I didn't know. I don't know what she does. So my daughter works with me full time. She's like 31, and she does all the marketing, all the planning for the business. So I really don't know what she does. I don't know. And I looked at my website for the first time last week, I think. I thought, wow, it looks really good. She's very good at that. So she's very good at all that stuff. Very organized. Okay. Just use your fun tip with my angry 10-year-old grandson I'm raising. It worked. Thanks so much. Your fun tip. What? Fun is their love language? Is that it? That a lot of people think that if they've got a kid with attitude that you deal with it with discipline. No. I really don't. Discipline is not my focus. And once you're a leader, you don't even have to do it because kids respect you. They don't act out. But I'm more about connecting and bonding with kids. Once you've got a good relationship with kids, how do you think they're going to treat you? My goal is always that kids like themselves when they're with me. If you make them like themselves and they feel good about themselves, they're going to do good. Okay, that is your power. When I was mentoring troubled teens, I had no leverage with them, but so I worked on the connection. And then, boy, you wouldn't believe the difference once they feel. And one of them said to me, he says, "I didn't like myself till I met you, Lisa." That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. I didn't like myself till I met you. That's what a good leader does for someone. They make them feel good. And when you feel good, you do good. When you feel bad, you do bad. So if you're focused on the discipline, they're just going to feel bad. You got to deal with it, but don't focus on it. Everyone wants to talk about discipline all the time. I don't understand that. Parents always want to talk about the bad behavior. I don't do that. Why? Why do you want to talk about bad behavior? I don't get that. I literally don't even understand that because I just have never done it. Why do you want to talk about bad behavior with your kids? Deal with it, hand out a consequence, and then drop it. Let it go. Where you put your energy, where you put your focus is what grows. Yes, the love language. Perfect. Fun is their love language. We chased each other around the table and we both had fun and he hugged me after. Oh, good for you. That's sweet. And then chances are he's not acting out that night, is he? Right? Right? What's that called? You get more with honey than you do with vinegar? It's like that. Think about it. How do you reward good behavior? You don't. You don't. Treat it like it's normal. Don't treat good behavior like, wow, that's shocking. You should get a gold star. Could you imagine if you had a good behavior board with your spouse? You were so good tonight, I'm going to buy you a chocolate bar. Can you imagine that? Your husband comes home, you were good today, I'm going to give you a gold star. Why on earth would you reward for just being normal? I don't treat normal. I don't reward normal. I don't treat good behavior as anything but normal. A reward chart for good behavior says you're normally rotten. If you should happen to be good, you'll get a reward. That's what you're saying to your child. Why on earth would you reward for what I consider normal? That's my baseline. Normal is good. Now, a behavior board says you're normally wonderful. If you should happen to do something bad, there's going to be a consequence. See the difference? Reward charts work at schools. Schools are not parenting. A lot of my clients are teachers, principals, child psychologists. I couldn't do their jobs. I have the utmost respect for them, but they struggle with parenting just like everybody else. Okay. So what works at school doesn't always work at home. It can, there's some crossover, but reward charts at school, fantastic. Reward charts at home, disaster. One's business, one's personal. I think I made that clear enough. Did you say you don't do advice on special needs? Only in coaching because I need to assess the situation. That's why. Can you imagine all the stuff I have to figure out if a special needs kid? Imagine everything I have to figure out. I also have to figure out what's worked in the past, what hasn't. What programs are they involved in? What support do you have? Do they have medical issues? You know, how is it draining you of money, emotions, energy? I need to know all that before I can give any advice for people who have children who are often sometimes dying, sick, have special needs, disabilities, handicaps, whatever. Imagine all the information I need before I would even think about handing out any advice. So that's why it's only in coaching. That's really sweet, Jewel. Jewel. That's really sweet. That made my night when you said that. That's really sweet. Okay. That's when she said fun. She understood that fun is their love language, kids' love language. So she's embracing that. It's cute. Okay. Now, such a good question. User 1039, blah, blah, blah. I'm terrified of the influence other kids will have at school. I know I can't control everything. Okay. When you're a leader, you have influence on them, no matter where they are. past the age of especially 3 and 4, right around there is the sweet spot, usually 3 and 9 months. But anyway, your leadership is like an umbrella they carry everywhere they go. They are not susceptible to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the Kardashians. They're not going to look to anyone else for leadership or influence. They look to you, okay? If they do like someone, they'll talk to you about that person. If someone's doing something bad, they'll come home and tell you. You become so important to your kids. Your opinion matters so much to them because they look up to you. They admire you. They feel safe with you. So you do have a lot of control. No one else does. Even through the teen years, you still have a lot more, I wouldn't call it control, but they really look up to you, and they're going to tell you everything. I remember one of my kids once said, well, we could never get in trouble because we know we're going to end up telling you anyway. So they would have told me anyway. They told me everything. So I didn't realize they did until years later. They were telling me everything. So, and I told my mother everything. So yeah, you have no idea how much influence you have over your kids. And that makes them immune to other people's bad influence, right? That's the superpower with all this stuff is the connection with them. They look up to you. You make them feel good. You're like their mentor, their leader. You're the person they're going to tell everything to. You're a safe place to land. Why on earth would they be influenced by someone else when they've got you at home, right? I remember my son, he was very funny. He still is. He's 36 now. But anyway, evidently one of his classmates that was just sitting next to him in high school said to him, hey, man, would you ever get in trouble with the law? And my son said, are you kidding me? I'd be terrified my mom would get to me before the police would. He wasn't afraid of me, but he would have been embarrassed, right? It would have been embarrassing. But it was mutual. Like my kids respected me, but I respected them. You got to give it to get it. So it was two-way street. It's not a one-way street at all. Oh gosh. Okay. You're going to hate me. How do I redirect my 3-year-old from walking by and kicking the new puppy out of the way? I would find another home for that puppy. There's no freaking way I would allow an animal to be abused in my home. Never. If you can't control your 3-year-old to not abuse that puppy, I would get rid of the puppy. Find a better home for it. Absolutely 100%. My kids grew up with pets. If I couldn't control my kids around those pets, use my free behavior board. That's where you get started. Put down no being mean to the puppy. That would be the rule. And protect that puppy so it doesn't happen again. But yeah, my kids knew you never pick up the dog because they might have dropped her. You never run past the bird cage because it would have startled the bird. They knew that from day one. I controlled it. I had it all figured out. I'm an animal lover. There's no way I would allow an animal to be abused in my home. Rehome that puppy if you can't control it. Your child, 100%. And it could even be temporarily. Like maybe you could send it to your parents for a few weeks or something. How did you control it? Well, I was already a leader and my kids didn't have that mean streak. They're either born with it or they're not, by the way. So it's the aggressive behavior. There's 4 things kids are either going to do or they're never going to do. One is aggressive behavior, bit of a mean streak, right? They're either born with it or they're not. One is tantrums, one is running, and one is climbing. Okay, so they didn't have that in them. Plus, I was already a leader. Okay, so they just knew. When I said don't run past the bird cage, they just learned not to. They just did. But that's what leadership does. I earned that. I worked for that. I have a hard time reading on TikTok. I don't know why, but the letters are always mesh with my top and not so much. There's not enough contrast for me. I don't know why. It's the only platform that I have a hard time reading. Can you talk more about those 4 things? Oh, okay. The aggressive behavior, it's just something in your DNA. Those kids often become really good aggressive sports players because they have that streak in them. I didn't have it in me. I could never kick someone. Like I just couldn't do it. So it's something you're born with. It just is. But you have to train them out of that so they can't be mean to people. But in sports, they're the aggressive kids in sports, right? The ones who don't mind tackling people. And it's something that's just in their DNA. They're born with it. Another one is tantrums. I've never had a tantrum. My son had a few. My daughter never had them. It's something you're born to have or you're never going to have them. And you can train them out of tantrums, okay? I think my son's last tantrum was 3 with me and 3.5 with his dad. But anyway, and then the other one is running and climbing. Those are two things that kind of go together, but not always. They don't have any physical fear. So they climb onto fridges, they climb wherever, or they might run in the street. If you say, come here, and they run away from you, that's a runner. So you get a leash for a runner so he doesn't get flattened by a bus. And climbers, that's trickier because it's in the home. I have some tips for that too. But anyway, that's a little bit trickier. But yeah, those often go hand in hand, but not always. Some kids are born with none of those. Some kids are born with all 4. I was doing a live a few years ago, and someone said, my kid was born with all 7. There's only 4. I love humor. Anyway, I thought that was really cute. But yeah, it's just something they're born with. I call it a little bit of mean streak, but it also can turn into a really good competitive edge when you're into athletic stuff, right? So yeah, but it can be redirected into something that you can use well, like with sports. I could physically never kick anyone or hit anyone. I never did, but other kids just don't think anything of it. They just whack people when they're 2 years old, and they just do. Neither of my kids did that. So, but they had friends who did. So something you're born with. It's not your fault when your kids are born doing that, but it's your responsibility to train them out of those traits. Anyway, Oh, okay. Someone asked a good question. How do you implement leadership early on? When I said something, I followed it up with action. Like if I said, okay, we're going to change your diaper now, I just did it. I didn't discuss it. Time to brush your teeth. I brushed their teeth. They might be kicking and screaming or not wanting it done. I did it anyway. So whatever I said was going to be done, I did it. But I also played really hard with my kids. Like I used to chase them around the house with underpants on my head. I was kind of a lunatic. I like playing with kids. I'm very goofy. And so the connection is really important, but also the redirection when they're babies. So if they are doing something you don't like when they're babies, you just redirect with something else. When they're about 16 months, that's when I get into the consistent corrective action. And I follow whatever they do, I follow it up with an action. So let's say they do something naughty, I would take a toy away or remove them from the fun. If I say it's time for bed, I don't discuss it. If they start arguing, I just put them in bed anyway. So I just follow everything up with an action. And they just learn, mom knows what she's doing. They didn't tend to fight me. They gave it a go, but they realized when mom said something's going to happen, like you're getting in the car seat, you're getting in the car seat. Like it's going to happen, right? I can wait them out. I can always wait them out. So I remember with my son, he used to go straight as a board. He didn't want to get in the car seat and go straight as a board. So I'd just wait. I had my hand on his tummy and I wouldn't talk to him. I wouldn't look at him. I'm waiting, wait him out. Finally, he'd take a breath and weaken, fold him in and clip him in, and that was done. Don't discuss it. I just do it. Follow everything up with action. They learned really early when mom says something's going to happen, it happens. And then they just relax and let it happen. They don't tend to argue anymore. And I only did that with the stuff that needed to be done, right? Got to go to bed, got to get in your car seat, got to get in the stroller, got to get in the shopping cart. It's going to happen. Okay. But with play, I let them be in charge. If they wanted to play a game, I'd let them sort of run the play. You got to give them some control. Anyway, I got to go. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board. Look into my boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for older kids. If you want to work with me one-on-one, that would be coaching. I do have a big wait list for that right now, but I'll get to it eventually. And I have no wait list for the podcast. You can listen to that anytime you want. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms. We do 2 a week. And we've got a series coming up because my daughter, she decides all this. She decided that we need like a base, like it's 7 podcasts in 7 days, and it's coming up. I don't know when she plans all this, but it's coming up soon. We finished filming it all, and it's all the basic stuff. So if it's somewhere we can send people and say, if you want to know all the basics, go to these 7 days, 7 podcasts. So that'll be coming out soon. So anyway, it's on all the platforms, and we save all of our podcasts are on YouTube. They're in the videos. All the lives are saved on YouTube also, and they're under lives. If you look on the YouTube, I didn't know that till today. I just found that out actually tonight. But yeah, I never look at my channel. My daughter does all that. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and I'll be back again soon, hopefully. Happy parenting. Bye now.